quick class on fermenting. Okay, so when we're looking at this, the ultimate is to get a packed jar with no air bubbles, and this has just cabbage and salt. You need about a tablespoon to a tablespoon and a half of salt for this, and I'm going to show you how to crush it down, because what you need no air in this at all, and then you have some cabbage leaves on top to cover it, so there's no air in this at all. And then you loosely apply this and then set it around 22 degrees centigrade, around 70 degrees Fahrenheit for about 7 to 10 days. Leave the lid on loose, because it's going to bubble and it's going to ferment. And you try it about 3 days, then try it at 6 days or 7 days. And then when it's the consistency you like, then you put it in the refrigerator, and that stops the fermentation. Now, when you're doing root vegetables like carrots or beets, just slice them thin. And the reason is, what you want to do is slice them up so it has a greater surface area. Now, carrots and beets are delicious. They're sweet and nice and wonderful, but you know what? Let's kick it up a notch. So you put a whole bunch in here, carrots and beets, but let's also add some spices to it. So now, peppers, you can leave the pepper whole, you can slice it up, dice it. I'm going to cut it right down the middle. And some people will take the seeds out. I recommend leaving the seeds in. Why? Because I'm married to a Pakistani girl, and she likes spice. Okay. I know. I'm also in Thailand. Let me tell you, Thai people like spice too. So this is, and you just pack it in there. And you want to pack it in. So, you know what? Just for the heck of it, let's toss a couple of cloves of garlic in there too. Okay, so this is just going to be the softest, most amazing fermented. And you can add this to salads or anything you want. Now, when it's there, we want to put a brine in there. And how you make a brine, take a tablespoon, which sure isn't a tablespoon, that's a little bigger, about a tablespoon and a half of salt in here, and then you mix it up. A tablespoon and a half mixed with about a quart of water. And then you have to do something crazy and mix it up. Now, normally, Jen will shake this really well, and all I'm doing is shaking it up so the salt gets diffused in it. With the salt diffused in it, and you can take a look to see if there's still some on the bottom, still got to shake it up. And it's okay, because it will get diffused in there. But if you shake it up, you have a really good brining solution. And this is also important if you're going to brine onions. And onions, you can do just straight onions like this, or straight cabbage like that, or onions and garlic, or onions and peppers. The onions, when they're fermented, they're amazing on top of salads or burgers or anything. But this gives healthy amounts of bacteria. So now I'm shaking it up, and there's all the salt is diffused. So this is good salt water. I'm going to add a couple more beets in here just for the heck of it. Crush it down a bit. And then this is the brine. And add some more veggies in there, just because I want to shove this down. But now I need one of those small glasses behind you, because we cannot have any air hitting this. So what you're going to do is crush this down, and you can even put a cabbage leaf is kind of nice, because if any air gets to this, then it can get moldy. And the mold's no big deal. You can cut that off. Oh, here's the brine. Add a little bit more brine. Put a cabbage leaf so it holds everything down. And then have this weigh it down, so everything is underneath the water. And then you let this sit on a shelf. You can cover it with a little cloth and a little rubber band. But again, 7 to 10 days. and try this out at 5 days, 4 days, and it'll start to get more fermented. Now, when you take onions, the same thing. You've got to create a brine. And there's the last of the brine here. And I'm going to have my assistant, who left her cell phone on, table and a half, a spoon of salt, quart of water, more water. And the only thing with water, make sure it doesn't have chlorine in it, because the chlorine is poisonous and can stop the fermentation. Plus, it has fluoride in it. That's fluoridated water is really bad. Then if you have an assistant who's good at shaking stuff, assistant, she shakes my protein drink every day, so she's pretty good at it. So when she's finishing up the brine, we're going to do the same thing with this with another glass on top. But get creative with this. Now, if you want to ferment garlic, you can do the same thing. You can put honey and just garlic in there. You can put straight garlic, but I recommend you do not get the ready-made cloves. You want to get cloves that you peel fresh. And this is going to be absolutely fantastic because the fermented garlic is incredible. But you can actually fill this with brine or fill this with honey. Honey and garlic is amazing. I'm going to put that brine in there a little bit. Still shaking it? Hold on, I'm getting that. See, that's a professional shaker. It took me a long time to get that down. And the same thing. Put it in there. And if you can, toss me another glass. And what's neat with this, it's just a weight. You can put more water in it. But as long as it holds everything down, you don't want air hitting it. And you can put a cabbage leaf or anything to cover it, because anything that air hits and it's just being left out, it can mold. And the mold's not a big deal. It's just if the cabbage leaf gets moldy, no problem. Just throw it away. And then leave this. Again, you can put a towel over it so it doesn't get dusty, but within 7 to 10 days, it's fantastic. And the lactobacillus that's on most vegetables, that thing kills pathogenic bacteria. And you'll know it'll taste good, it'll taste sweet, and you'll recognize it pretty well. Now, on cabbage, you can put the straight cabbage in. You can make it creative and put some peppers in. And the same thing, so this will be a little bit spicy. You can mix peppers, cabbage, onion. You can get real creative. So this could be a coleslaw with some raw onion. And cabbage. Now the biggest thing with this, where's the salt? Yeah, go on, steal the stuff. Okay, and you want, again, you're just going to salt this for flavor, but by putting, see what else looks good. Garlic, peppers, onions, more coleslaw. Now you want to pack this down. Now normally I would have like a rolling pin or something. Using a heavy glass to push down is not real safe because if it breaks, it's really not good. But it's all we got. And so I'm crushing it down. So there's going to be no air pockets in it at all. Now, if the cabbage was really, really fresh, we'd start to see water coming up here. But the cabbage has been dried out a little bit. So we're going to do a little bit more onions. Do a couple more garlic. I know, it looks good, doesn't it? More cabbage. and get as creative as you want. Now, I'm pushing fairly hard, but if I had a wooden spoon, it'd make it a lot easier. And then this, again, you're going to add about a tablespoon of salt to this. Maybe a little bit more onions too. Now, normally, squishing this down, there's going to be some fluid coming up, but there's not much fluid. So then you've got to add, since we've already added the salt, we don't need to add the brine. We just add the water. And you're going to see that this water is going to be filtering down. See the air bubbles in there? You want to get rid of the air bubbles. And so keep squishing to get all of that air out. And we're working with anaerobic bacteria, so they grow in presence of in no air. So that's going to be a lot nicer. A little bit more cabbage in there for the heck of it. I'm going to add a little bit more water. Now it's going to create its own water as the bacteria break down things. I'm going to take another cabbage leaf, and this one, we're going to pack it all around the edge. So it's also underneath the water. So we don't need to have a weight to hold it down. Just this thing will work. Then loosely put the lid on. And when you're letting these ferment, put it on a cookie sheet, because there's going to be fluid coming out here. And make sure you notify anybody that's going to clean the house. Because me and my kids, we did this for about 4 hours one day. We had 12 of these jars all lined up. It was the last day, and we had them all in a cookie jar or cookie sheet in the sink. And then we went out, came back from a bike ride, and the maid had cleaned it all up and threw away all the vegetables that were in there. Tell the maid. And so with this stuff, it's all set, and you can get as creative as you want. So we have just straight cabbage, peppers, garlic, and onions. We've got onions that are fermenting. We've got garlic, beets, and carrots. And you can do whatever you want. If you just have straight garlic, you can do the straight brine and have brine garlic. And this is the salt water that Jen so magically did. And then if we had another glass, because again, when you're fermenting this, thank you, my dear. And so you can see everything is out of the presence of air. It just happened to work out that these jars and these glasses were a perfect match. But everything in Bangkok works out perfectly. Yes? Good, good. Any questions?
We don't use that. Just like do the loose lid.
The loose lid, as long as you need some kind of weight to hold it down. So you could do the loose lid, okay, but I'd pack it with leaves. That's why before we do the cabbage, I broke off a couple of the big leaves so this thing I could shove in there.
So if I just pop in it, I don't have
Yeah. Yeah, we just happen to have a perfect fit glass. If I didn't have it, I'd be shoving it down in there. But the any air that hits these leaves is guaranteed to get moldy. And if you just take a cloth that's, and just drape it over this and put a rubber band around it, beautiful, that's going to be fine. You're checking for flavor. And so when you try it, and some people like it al dente where it's a little bit, stiff. Some people like it softer. I like it more softer, so it has a real good bite to it. the more you leave it, the more bubbly and fizzy it's going to get. And that just means a higher bacteria content. If the kids don't want it, you want to help them, to get that bacteria in their tummy, you can just use the juice out of it. And because they call it cabbage juice, it's fantastic for digestive disorders or things, but this is a way that you can build up healthy bacteria. Now there's natural lactobacillus on the vegetables. And this, while it's fermenting, it kills the harmful bacteria. But you know what the smell of healthy fermented food's like. If it's left on the counter for 2-3 weeks, it starts to rot or get moldy, then that's not good. Okay, but the bacteria in here is all healthy. And that's going to be fantastic. You just wash the vegetables. You don't need to peel them. Okay, and make sure they're all organic, which is ideal. Make sure the water doesn't have any chlorine in it, and make sure it's packed down to where there's no air. And then you're guaranteed to have a really good product. And it's so weird to try it, because if you try it in about because today is Tuesday, so by Friday we could try some of this, okay, and see what it tastes like. If about 70, 75 degrees or about 20, 22 degrees Celsius, okay, it's going to be 7 to 10 days, perfect. But in 3 days we could try it and be a lot better than No, just throw away that's why I put the leaf on top, because that's almost guaranteed to get moldy. And then, so you lift up the leaf, try it, lift it up, try it, and then finally, when it's all set, then you throw the top leaf away, and then you put it in the machine. Most everybody has a machine like this that'll stop the fermentation. Okay, do you know what that machine's called? Refrigerator. Okay, good. Isn't that cool? We got to do it with a taller thing, because I can't really see. Okay. I don't know. You're taller than me. So, any questions?
So like that, like diet, okay, the leaves get moldy during the process, before we get
If it's moldy, the whole thing's not going to be moldy. So if you have a leaf that's covering the jar that's been off like this and it has a little moldy edge, beautiful. Oops. Don't throw it in the salt. Yeah, it's simpler than you could imagine, but this is what your grandparents would do, your great-grandparents. This is how you preserve foods. I mean, when you look at the far cold north, and I'm talking like Russia, they would harvest the cabbage, and they put the cabbage in the bottom of a barrel. Then they'd throw some salt on it, then another layer, salt, another layer, salt, another layer. And they'd squish it down, and they'd add spring water if it was exposed to air. They put a lid on it, and then for months throughout the winter time, they would just keep digging into it, so they had fresh vegetables all winter. Yeah. But the big thing is cut it in so it has good surface area. That way the bacteria have good access to everything. Just make sure there's no air bubbles in it. And then this is just going to be brine garlic, but you could put honey in there. We don't have enough honey to do it, but that honey and garlic is like amazing for colds and flus. It's just fantastic.
Honey kills.
Doesn't honey kill bacteria? Not only does honey is antimicrobial, but so is garlic. Okay, but luckily in this brining solution, it still will break it down. And it generally, it slows bacteria growth. So it won't ferment the same. It won't be soft like the garlic we put in there. Okay, if you put it in honey. And the garlic will not get as soft and delicious as the root vegetables, because it just has different properties. Okay?
And the way you're making the brine, like, is it the same when you put just water and like you added salt?
Yeah, it's about the same amount. So when you're shoving a bunch of cabbage in a jar, and we've got a couple extra jars here, so if anyone wants to make their own combo, I'll help you. But you shove some cabbage in there, and then a little bit of salt, cabbage or whatever, a little bit of more salt. And so you're using on average, about a tablespoon to a tablespoon and a half of salt. And make sure the salt, okay, is salt. A lot of salt has anti-caking agents, or calcium chloride or some other stuff. You don't want that. Okay, you want real salt, sea salt.
So it's the same thing as using the
Yeah, exact same thing. Exact same thing. It's easier because you just mix it in there, and when you have a thing of vegetables to get the right consistency, it's already in a liter jar or a quart jar. Okay, was that fun? Any other questions? Kapun Krap, thank you very much.